Hi everyone, it's Anja here. I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and in this video we are making Orla Kiely inspired hand warmers. So I am really enjoying wearing them, so let's get started. So what do you need for these hand warmers? We have my Orla Kiely palette. I am going to use those colors. Obviously, if you just want to use one color, that's fine. If you want to use your own colors, that's perfectly fine too. Then I have here about 6 wooden buttons. I got them from my local haberdashery shop. I really like them. They are very small because I want to put them very close in a row. Now, maybe when you are making these hand warmers, wait to go and buy your buttons until you have actually made the hand warmers. You've made the little loops to put the buttons in, and then you can take your gloves with you to go and buy the buttons and buy them to size and see what would fit. We've got a 3.5 because that's the one I always use for Stylecraft Special DK. Obviously if you use a 4, then go ahead and use a 4. It all depends on tension and of course scissors and a darning needle. So we are going to get started. Although I am going to do lots of colours, I am not going to keep the same, I think it will be fun. I'm not going to keep the same order of colours for both hands, so I'm going to have different order of colours. But what I am going to do is I am going to have the same outside. So I'm going to start with the same colour, I'm going to end with the same colour, and I'm going to do the edging with the same colour, and that is going to be Storm Blue. Okay, so what you need here is you start with your slip knot and you do a chain of 36. That is the length of what is going to wrap around your wrist and around your hand. Then when you have done a 36, you are going to remember this one here as your last chain, obviously. And to start the next round, we are going to chain up 2, and this is going to count as the first double crochet coming out of your 36th chain. Then we are going to yarn over and do a double crochet in the 4th chain from your hook. There we go. So these are the first 2 stitches done. And you are going to be picking up the 2 loops of the chain, making sure you do not skip a chain, and making sure you have 36 in the end. So to do a double crochet, which is a treble in UK terminology and a double crochet in US terminology, you yarn over, you insert, picking up 2 loops, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you continue like that all along your chains. Do then please count them again so you know you've got 36 stitches. Obviously it's not going to be the end of the world if you have 35 or 37, okay? But what is going to be important is that for the rest of your lines, you do the same amount of stitches. So if you do happen to end up with 35, make sure you keep doing 35. And in a moment when I reach the end, and I'll stop talking, we are going to change color. I will show you how to change color, and then I will tell you how many rounds you have to do. So I will see you at the end of the round. If you are new to my channel or you haven't yet subscribed, please find the red subscription button and click on it. It is free. You will then see a bell sign. Click on that too, so you are notified of every new video I upload. You can also find links to my social media right above that. Okay, so I'm at the end of the round. I have 36 stitches. I am just going to cut this off and pull up the loop like so. So like I said, I am going to do my first round and my last round in the same color, so make sure you remember that. Obviously, if you have to make 2 of these, right? So very often when I do something like this, I tend to do the second one straight away, so you've got your both things going at the same time. But as I'm doing my colors in a sort of, you know, completely random way for both the gloves, I am going to just do one and then work on the other. If you're doing the gloves the same way, the colors in the same way, then it's easier if you just do them for each glove at a time. So you work the blue for one glove and you work it for the next glove, then you go on to the next color and you work it for the 2 hand warmers at the same time. So now I am going to start with my second color. I make a slip knot, I put it on my hook, I take my work and I turn it as if I would have been turning it with my turning chain, and I am just going to yarn over and start with a standing double crochet like this. There we go. Okay. And I continue like this until the end, and I do exactly the same thing. I cut off the yarn, turn it over and start with a standing stitch as if I was already crocheting. So I am going to keep on doing this until I have 16 rows. So you will have quite a bit of material to work with. I will see you at the end of your 16th row. Okay, I am back. I have done my 16 rows and I have enjoyed trying to, you know, sort of make sure I don't use the same colors as in my other one. So make sure you know, whatever you do. So I have 16 rows. I am now ready with another row of khaki to start working on my 17th row. There we go. And have you noticed I have been really good? I have sewn in all the ends already. Yes, I am sorry with using another color for every row. You do have 2 ends to sew in on each side for each color. So yes, if you don't like sewing in the ends, either use one color or use a variegated one, and that will change color all on its own. And all you need to do when you turn is do 2 or 3 turning chains, and those then count as a stitch, so you don't need to do an extra double crochet in that particular last stitch of that round. So there we go. And so you do another round of double crochets, and I will see you at the end, because that's when it changes. I have now done my last stitch in my 17th round. I am not going to just cut off the yarn just yet, but I am going to go back to the first stitch, and I'm going to go under the V there, and I am going to slip stitch my hand warmers together. There we go. So we have now gone from a flat piece to a round piece. See? So now we are going to start working in the round. So we are now ready to start the next round. I have chosen mustard. I am doing a slip knot around my hook, tighten it up a bit, and I am going to yarn over like so, and I'm going to get started into that same stitch where I did the slip stitch earlier, and I do a double crochet, and off we go again. We do our 36 double crochets, and this time at the end we're not just going to cut off our yarn, but we are going to do a slip stitch first so we make that circular form that we need to go around our hand. And I will see you at the end of the round where you are going to be doing your slip stitch. So I am now at the end of my round. I've just done my last double crochet. I'm now going to go under here, the standing stitch, to do my slip stitch. There we go. And once again, it will become sturdier once I've put everything, once I've sewn in all the ends. There we go. But it will help if you just tie a knot in it as well. There we go. That's what I tend to do anyway, just to make sure that it is secure. Right, there we go. So this is how you are going to do another 3 rounds. So after the 17th round here, you are going to do 4 rounds. So 1 and another 3. Now the last one, make sure that that is again in the color that you want to do your edging in. So that is going to be the storm blue. So I'm going to do 2 more colors and then a storm blue one. So I will see you at the end of that. I have now finished my 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds of double crochet, and I have done my last round in my color that I wanted the edging to happen in. So I have done my last round of double crochet now, just because it is going to be the edge of my glove, and it, you know, you sort of, it gets a little bit of wear and tear because you've got it on your hand, and you might, you know, might need a little reinforcement. I am going to do a round of single crochets on top of my double crochets. So when you have done that, we are then going to have to finish the sort of opening for our thumb. Now, because we used our color that we want to do the edging in at the top and the bottom, we already don't have to do that anymore. So that is done, and if you have been good like I have and you've sewn in all your ends, then all you have to do now is do the sides, you know, sort of the inside on your thumb and the buttons. So I am hoping that I am nearly there. So we can just keep you talking while I do this round of single crochets all around. There we go, and a slip stitch to finish in this one there, right, and we pull it through, cut it off and pull it through. There we go. And so all you have to do then is sew in those 2 ends. So that is one hand warmer finished. Now we have to make sure that we do this left and right, although it doesn't make that much difference. There's going to be a difference in the buttons. So I already have made one side, I have already finished one side, and depending on whether you want the gloves, the buttons to be sort of like that, sort of up with the loops around them, or down, it you know, so to be honest, it doesn't really matter, but I just want to now make sure I do the opposite, okay, so that they are different. You can make them the same, but then you'll have one side where the buttons are up and the other side where the buttons are down. So I am going to make sure that they are different, so that when I'm wearing them, they both have the buttons up or down, depending how I wear them. Okay, there is logic to my madness. So we've done the edges here. All we need to do now is start doing our edging around our opening here. So because I have done my buttons, let's put it this way, the loops on this side. I am now going to make sure I do my loops on this side and my buttons on this side. And yeah, okay. So I am going to start with doing single crochets on this side here. So you insert into the corner here as much to the side as you possibly can. And I think I've split something there. There we go. And you do a single crochet. Try to do 1 or 2 in each double crochet. But 1 is not enough and 2 might be too much if you have a shorter double crochet. So there we go. So this is what we are going to do, and we're going to do this all the way around. So when you get here, you place 1 here in there, and then you turn and you come back all the way around. I will see you at the end of that. Right, so I have made it, my buttons are everywhere now. I have made it to the end of my opening here. I am now going to do, for the first one, I'm going to do 4 loops. You skip 2 stitches and you do a single crochet. The next ones you do 3 chains. What did I say? Loops? Oh my word. So you do 4 chains, single crochet, 3 chains, skip 2, single crochet. Now, like I said before, it depends on, you know, the size of the loops that you are now creating for your buttons. So I am doing this, but it might be that you just need to do 2 chains. You can do this and then go to the shop and find buttons, but you might not find the right size. So to make sure, so I've made 6 loops now, okay, to make sure not all is lost, okay, I'm just going to cut this off with a little bit of an end, okay, so like that. That way you can take it to the shop and try out the buttons, see if they go through. Then once you're ready and you have decided on your buttons, you can use this thread either to make your loop smaller if you have to, but you can also use it to attach your buttons to the other side. Now, I have attached it there, you know, with this I used a needle and I sort of attached it there so it was closed. So even if my buttons do come undone, it's not going to come undone because I have sewn it a little bit as well. So I am going to put my buttons ready, and I've lost one, I think. There it is. And I can then, there we go, I can then sort of put them round the loop, inside the loop, or I can just first sew them on and then put the loops around, and I do another little stitch there. So although the buttons are keeping it closed, I have done a little stitch here as well to make sure it doesn't come undone. Okay, so maybe here my loops are a little bit too big. I have not yet completely cut off this, so I can undo my buttons again and I can undo my loops again to make them smaller. So it's just trying it out really with the buttons that are available to you, because you know, you might be able to find bigger ones or smaller ones or like these ones really much, and you have to just use them. So make it easy on yourself, cut off an end of yarn and do it, but make sure that you can still see. I've only sewn on the buttons really simply with one bit into the crochet, just to make sure that I can still undo it if I find it comes undone or it's not as sturdy as I wanted it to be. What you can also do with your end now is sort of sew it underneath so it doesn't come undone at all. So there you go. It looks like it's a real opening piece of work here, but you might not be able to do it depending on the buttons and the loops that you create. So I hope this was useful. I'm going to add some pictures of when I am wearing this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.